What's up everyone? In this video, I'm jumping into Infinity Rising. This is a sky-based open world where everything happens above the surface of the Earth. I'm starting from the very beginning and following the initial tutorial step by step, so you can see how exploration chests, inventory, and basic interactions work inside the game. I'll be moving through the map, opening chests, checking different areas, and showing exactly what you can interact with and what you cannot. Nothing cinematic here, just raw gameplay and a clear walkthrough of what's happening on screen. If you want to understand how Infinity Rising plays from the first minutes and how the early mechanics work, let's get started. I load into the game, and the first thing that appears on screen is a prompt asking me to open a green chest. This chest is part of the initial onboarding and it is clearly highlighted, so I cannot miss it. I move closer to the chest and interact with it to open it. When it opens, I can see clothing items inside that are meant for my avatar. The game is guiding me to choose my starting outfit before doing anything else. I select the clothing items from the chest, and the game automatically places them into my inventory. I open the inventory menu and I can see the new clothing pieces listed there. Each item is shown as an equipable piece for my character. I select the clothing one by one and equip them directly from the inventory screen. As I equip each item, I can see my avatar's appearance change in real time on the screen. Once all the clothing is equipped, the game confirms that my avatar is now properly dressed. This step is very straightforward and is clearly designed to familiarize me with basic interactions, like opening chests, managing inventory, and equipping items. I can also see that this is setting the foundation for future gameplay, where chests and inventory management will be important. After finishing this step, there are no additional actions required in this area. The game allows me to continue moving forward once my avatar is fully equipped. At this point, I understand how to interact with objects, how to open containers, and how to equip items using the inventory system. This completes the first tutorial step and prepares me to move deeper into the world and follow the next instructions provided by the game. I continue moving forward, and the game starts explaining that I need to find chests scattered around the world. These chests are important because they contain in-game credits. The instructions make it clear that credits are a basic currency I will need later. The game also explains that once I collect credits from chests, I should store them in the cornucopia's ATM. As I walk through the area, I keep my camera moving left and right to scan the environment. I am now paying attention to objects that might look like chests. The game does not force me in a straight line. Instead, it allows me to explore freely while keeping this objective in mind. I can see buildings, open spaces, and structures that suggest this area is designed for exploration. At this stage, there is no chest immediately in front of me. The tutorial is more about understanding what I should be looking for, rather than giving me an instant reward. I move across the terrain while keeping an eye out for containers that stand out visually. The game is teaching me that earning credits requires exploration and attention to detail. While moving forward, I do not interact with the ATM yet. The explanation is given in advance, so I know what to do once I actually find credits. This helps me understand the flow: first find chests, then collect credits, and finally store them safely. This step feels like a setup for the next actions. I now know that chests are a key mechanic. Credits are a valuable resource, and the ATM is used to store them. With that information in mind, I continue walking through the map and prepare to actively search for chests in the next part of the tutorial. I start actively exploring the map with the goal of finding chests. I move through the environment at a steady pace and keep my camera scanning the ground, nearby structures, and open areas. The game does not give me a marked location, so this part is about free exploration and observation. I walk along paths around buildings and across open spaces where chests could logically be placed. As I move forward, I check corners, edges of the map, and areas that look slightly different from the rest of the terrain. I am clearly looking for containers that stand out visually from the environment. At this point, I do not find any chests, even though I spend time moving through multiple sections of the map. The lack of immediate results makes it clear that chests are not guaranteed in every location. While walking, I continue to get familiar with movement and camera controls. I adjust my direction often and look at objects from different angles. This helps me understand how visibility works and what kind of shapes and colors I should be paying attention to. Even though I do not open any chests yet, this step reinforces that exploration is a core mechanic. There are several objects in the environment that could be confused with chests at first glance. I approach a few of them to check more closely, but none of them can be interacted with as chests. This confirms that not every container or object is lootable, and I need to be precise about what I interact with. By the end of this step, I still have not found a chest, but I now understand that searching takes time and movement across the map. The game is encouraging patience and awareness rather than quick rewards. With this in mind, I continue moving forward, ready to investigate new areas as I keep searching for chests in the next part of the tutorial. As I keep exploring, I finally come across objects that look promising from a distance. I move closer and realize that these are not chests, but suitcases. They are placed around the area in a way that suggests this location functions like an airport or a landing zone. I walk around the space and can see multiple suitcases scattered on the ground, reinforcing the idea that this is a place where ships or planes arrive and depart. I approach several of these suitcases and try to interact with them. The game does not register them as chests and no loot interface appears. This confirms that these objects are part of the environment rather than loot containers. Visually, they are similar in size and shape to chests, which makes this moment useful for learning how to distinguish real chests from decorative objects. As I move through the landing area, I take time to observe the surroundings. The layout feels open and functional with enough space to suggest vehicle movement and landings. The presence of suitcases helps tell the story of this zone without directly affecting gameplay. Even though I do not gain any credits here, this step is still important. It teaches me that not every object that looks interactive actually is, and the context matters when searching for chests. From now on, I know that chests will have their own distinct appearance and interaction prompt, separate from environmental props like luggage. After checking several suitcases and confirming they cannot be opened, I move on from the landing area. I continue exploring the map now, more confident in identifying what is part of the scenery and what is actually tied to the chest and credit system. I keep moving through the area and continue searching for chests. As I explore more of the map, I repeatedly encounter the same type of suitcases scattered around. At first glance, they still resemble chests because of their size and placement, so I walk up to them to double check. Each time I approach and try to interact, nothing happens, confirming again that these are not lootable objects. The environment continues to reinforce the idea that this zone functions as a landing or transit area. The suitcases are placed in clusters and near open spaces, which makes sense for an airport-style location. Visually, they blend in well with the surroundings, making it easy to mistake them for chests if I am not paying close attention. As I move around, I slow down and start observing details more carefully. I look for visual cues that separate real chests from decorative props. I notice that these suitcases do not show any interaction prompt and they do not react when I stand close to them. This helps me build a clearer understanding of how actual chests should behave when I find one. Even though I am still not finding any real chests, this part of the tutorial continues to train my awareness. The game is pushing me to learn through exploration rather than direct instruction. I move between different sections of the landing zone, checking corners, open areas, and paths leading away from the main space. By now it is very clear that these suitcases are intentionally misleading in appearance. They look similar to chests but serve no gameplay function. This reinforces the need to explore beyond obvious locations and not assume that every container is a source of rewards. After confirming once again that these objects are not chests, I leave the area and continue moving forward. I am now more focused on finding objects that clearly stand out as chests and ready to interact as soon as I finally come across a real one. As I continue exploring, I finally spot a chest that looks different from the others. This one is a green emerald color and it clearly stands out from the environment. I move closer and this time an interaction prompt appears confirming that this is an actual chest and not part of the scenery. I interact with the chest to open it and the contents appear on screen. Inside the chest, I find land plot scanners. I take a couple of them and add them to my inventory. I can see the items being transferred immediately and the inventory updates to show the new objects I just collected. This is the first time in the tutorial where opening a chest results in real usable items, which confirms that I am now interacting with the correct type of container. Along with the land plot scanners, I also find a common holo cache with a label showing 1/40. The cache is clearly listed as part of the chest contents and I collect it as well. Once again, the item is added directly into my inventory and I can visually confirm that it is stored there. After collecting everything from the chest, I close the interaction and step away. This moment helps clarify the difference between decorative objects, misleading suitcases, and real chests that provide progression items. The emerald color and the interaction prompt make it much easier to identify real chests moving forward. With these new items now in my inventory, I resume moving through the map. The game does not force me to use the items immediately, allowing me to continue exploring and searching for more chests. This step reinforces how chest rewards work, how items are collected, and how they are stored for later use. After finishing this interaction, I continue walking away from the chest, keeping my focus on exploring new areas and looking for additional chests, prepared to repeat the process as I progress through the tutorial. After collecting items from the emerald green chest, I continue moving through the map. I keep scanning the environment while walking forward and checking open areas, paths, and structures. I am still focused on finding more chests, but at this point, I do not have any luck. I move through several sections without seeing another interaction prompt appear. As I keep exploring, I eventually reach a landing zone area. This space feels wider and more open compared to the previous sections, and it looks designed for vehicles rather than foot traffic. In the center of the area, I notice a medium-sized white airplane parked on the ground. It stands out clearly against the surroundings, so I walk closer to inspect it. When I approach the airplane, An interaction option appears that allows me to enter. I activate it and step inside the aircraft. From the inside, I can see the interior space, but there are no controls available for flying or taking off. The game allows me to enter and look around, but it is clear that piloting the plane is not possible at this stage. After confirming that the airplane cannot be flown, I exit and step back into the landing zone. This interaction helps me understand that not all vehicles are usable right away, and some are present for exploration or future gameplay features. The landing zone itself reinforces the idea that this area is meant for arrivals and departures, even if the functionality is limited. For now, I take a final look around the area to make sure there are no nearby chests, but nothing else stands out. With no new loot available, I move away from the airplane and continue walking forward, ready to keep exploring other parts of the map. At this point, I understand that exploration includes checking vehicles, environmental structures, and open zones, even when they do not immediately provide rewards. Thank you so much for watching to this episode. And before I go, don't forget, if you'd like to receive a very short but value-packed email from me every Tuesday, you can sign up for the Cardano Gaming newsletter. Every Tuesday, I'll be sharing the latest from the Cardano Gaming ecosystem to help you make better decisions. So, if you don't want to miss out, just go to the link on the screen, leave me your email, and very soon I'll be in your inbox. That's all for today. I hope you have a great week.